Guess what's on the Disney Plus? Guess what is on the Disney Plus? Yes, it is in fact Don Bluth's Thumbelina from 1994, starring Jodie Benson, aka The Little Mermaid. And then there's Gilbert Gottfried and Shara. One of the most rented movies in the children's free movie rentals at Hollywood Video. Anyways, let's get into it. So there's a lady who lives on a farm by herself who wants a baby but can't have one. So she goes to a witch, and the witch gives her a barley corn and tells her to plant the barley corn. And so she does, and it grows a flower, and a little lady lives inside. I don't want to call her a girl because she looks grown as fuck. And we named her Thumbelina because she's the size of a thumb. Well, for like the longest time, she thought she was the only thumb-sized girl in the whole world because, you know, they never leave the farm and she never sees anybody other thumb-sized. Well, one night her mom's reading her, like, storybooks and they come across a fairy tale. Literally a fairy tale, a tale about fairies. And she finds out that fairies are her size, but she didn't think they actually existed until the fairy prince, who was out riding his hot rod bumblebee around, flew to her window and saw her, and then, like, they fell in love instantly. Think Love's an Open Door from Frozen, except they really do fall in love. And he takes her on a ride on his hot rod bumblebee, and they're, like, singing a song, kind of like A Whole New World. But they're, like, on top of lily pads and shit, and while they're all dancing and singing and shit, this frog sees her. And then they fly away, and she goes back to the house, and he's like, okay, I'm coming to get you tomorrow so I can propose to you. I have to go tell my parents tonight. And she's like, Oakley, so she goes to sleep in her little walnut bed. But then her walnut bed is closed up and taken by Mama Frog. Now, Mama Frog is a frog played by Charo, but she's also a boy mom. And one of her sons is in love with Thumbelina. That was the frog from earlier. So she kidnapped her so that they can put her as a singer in their family band or whatever, so that she can make them money. And they tell her, oh, you're going to be a big star and all this, but we're also going to marry you to one of the frog boys so that we can collect your money. Essentially, they're going to enslave her. But also, then they rode the boathouse down the road and left her on a lily pad. But then a bird comes by named Giacomo, who's a French, like, sparrow or some shit, and helps her get away. But then the lily pad nearly falls off of a tiny waterfall. But then some fish and the jitterbugs help save her. And then she's trying to get home, but then she's taken in by this beetle who wants to put her on stage. And it looks like a Las Vegas residential tour for bugs. However, she is not a bug, but they put her in a bug costume. But then the bug costume rips off and they find out she is a human girl-esque. And they think she's ugly and she runs away. And so Giacomo is trying to help her find the Veil of the Fairies because that's where Prince Cornelius, who's the fairy prince, is going to be. Well, all the meanwhile, the fairy prince is trying to track her down so that he can marry her because they know she's been kidnapped. But also the frog is hunting her down, and now the beetle is hunting her down. And while all this happens, the prince falls in the lake. And then the winter comes at like the exact same time, and he gets frozen in the lake for a while. Well, then it starts to snow, and Thumbelina is found inside of a shoe and a sock by a field mouse. And so the field mouse takes her in and tells her about Prince Cornelius being dead because he's frozen in the lake. And she takes her to see Mr. Mole, who apparently is the richest rodent in the land, except he's old as shit and he can't see, and he's not particularly handsome, and also he hates serfs. But he's rich. Which apparently is actually important because according to the field mouse's song, you actually still have to pay a mortgage even though you're a field mouse or a mole or a bug. They have mortgages. But anyways, we get to the wedding with the mole, and then Thumbelina runs away because she does not want to fucking marry the mole. And then everybody comes together at once, and while all that's happening, the jitterbugs manage to cut the prince out of the frozen lake and like thaw him under some fire. So now he's alive and he's fighting the frog. And then Thumbelina escapes, and she's with Giacomo. Giacomo actually found the Veil of the Fairies. He takes Thumbelina over there, and you know it's still all frozen over and shit. And then Prince Cornelius shows up, and they fall in love, and then they get married. The end. It's got some pretty music. The animation is absolutely Don Bluth via 1994, but we are not hating on it. Actually, I'm not hating on anything. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Okay, bye. You're sure to do impossible things if you follow your heart.